Salutations, one and all! This is my reaction and review to RWBY Volume 9, Episode 4. And last episode proved that Team RWBY aren't actually in the book The Girl Who Fell to the World, and are instead in a world that takes place several years or decades after the book. And that is, really, really bad for them, because they were trying to use the book as a blueprint, like, okay, we gotta go to A to B to C to D, then we'll get to the tree and we'll go home. Huzzah! But that's really not going to work anymore, because in the book, Alex managed to beat the Red King in a game of chess, essentially, and he led her, further down the path. But in this world now, when Team RWBY beat the Red Prince, he had a complete and absolute temper tantrum and tried to murder all of them. So yeah, that's bad. That is really, really bad. Though this does definitely raise the question, who exactly killed the Red King? I mean, it could certainly have been Alex, as part of her attempt to get home, she ended up murdering him. I don't think that happened in the book. Maybe it happened, in this reality instead, not sure. But my other guess would have to be John. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but here in the opening, we see John surrounded by clocks. And that never made a whole lot of sense to me, because clocks have always been Ozpin's thing. They were never John's thing. But what if this is, trying to symbolize the fact that John actually arrived in this world long, long before Team RWBY did? Like years and years ago, or even just like 1 year ago. I mean, I've been saying for a long time that John would be the Rabbit Knights. He'd show up every now and again, save Team RWBY, and they'd keep wondering, who is that mysterious man? But I wonder if, John, aka the Rabbit Knight, has actually been in this world for a long time, and he is going around doing things like killing the Red King as part of his journey, whatever that might be. I don't know. Very curious. Hoping we get some answers, but let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Oh god, RWBY is calling Kitty over and over. That already makes me smile. Here, kitty, here. And yes, RWBY lost the magical cat who can actually guide them home. That is so her. I also forgot to mention, all of Team RWBY, besides RWBY herself, have been shrunken down to little size and are now living in her hood. Oh, I love that so much. A cat's hindquarters. Yes, Little, that is a truly terrifying thing.
Excuse me. You're excused.
Okay, yeah, that's one scary cat right there. Okay, so, the curious cat lost his butt, apparently. Why not? I mean, seriously, why not?
Hello, cat.
You suppose I am indeed a cat most curious?
Okay, Mr. Cat Most Curious, as I'll be referring to you from now on.
Of course. Look, my friends and I really need to get to that giant tree, and so far nothing we've tried has gotten us any further.
Also, in case you've forgotten, they are really, really tiny. You also need to figure out a way to make them, normal size again before you go back to Remnant.
Looks to me like we're even farther.
Yeah, I think that's because we're 6 inches tall.
It could be both.
Yeah, that's true. That is very, very true. When you're really, really tiny, things look very far away. And I just love how absolutely terrified Little is here. Oh, that is precious.
You do not go to the tree goes to you, unless of course you're me, you see.
You do not go to the tree goes to you? Interesting. I guess that could, symbolically mean, they weren't able to get any closer to the tree unless they went on the path of the story, so maybe they need to go through, this journey of self-discovery before they're able to stand before the tree, or the tree's able to stand before them, however you want to look at it.
Not even a little bit. Please, you helped Alex when she was...
Alex?
Okay.
Alex? How do you know her?
Oh, that is going to be a long, long story. I think the best explanation they come up with here is that Alex actually wrote a book about her, journey into the ever after, and they all read it. That would make things a lot easier.
Okay, now tell me.
Well, we don't know her personally. She wrote a book about
Yes.
her entire adventure.
Thank you. Okay, that is a great excuse to explain all of this, and it might actually be the truth. Alex may have actually written a book about this entire world, and that explains why everyone in Remnant knows the story of the Ever After.
Do I smell a mouse?
Okay, yeah, Little probably was right to be very, very terrified of this magical fourth-dimensional cat.
Are we sure they're not called the constantly annoying cat?
Got him. Totally roasted.
Thank you.
What the freak was that? Seriously, what the freak was that? That honestly was a little bit cringy, even for my taste.
Guys, that shouldn't be too hard. We know all sorts of...
The cat's gone.
No.
They lost the freaking cat again, which is particularly impressive given this cat is bright purple and blue. I mean, he's very hard to spot from very far distance away.
I sense a butt approaching.
I sense a butt approaching, and his butt approached. Oh my god. Okay, that was hilarious.
Ever seen a scroll before? Ooh.
Luminous rectangle. Ooh. What does this button do?
Okay, they just gave a cat an iPad, and it took a picture of himself. Beautiful.
Why is it painting tiny flat versions of me? Is that what I look like smiling?
Hook, line, and
Questions.
sinker.
How exciting. So, the old man and the boy share a body now?
Oh, Oscar.
That's got some uncomfortable implications.
Yes, very uncomfortable. Especially because there is a very large chunk of the community who ships Ruby with Oscar, and Oscar is now kind of technically her former principal. So, yeah, so very, very much wrong with that.
Did that CL girl from the Vital Festival ever come back in a notable way?
Oh, seriously, did CL ever come back in a noticeable way? I mean, a lot of RWBY fans were asking about that, and I don't think she did. I think she appeared, like, very briefly last volume, but in no way was she significant.
There's just so many characters to keep track of.
Yes, there absolutely are. I can't keep track of half of them.
This entire world is put together like a bunch of mixed up puzzle pieces. How does anyone make sense of this?
I don't think they actually do. I think they all just kind of accept, yeah, this world is weird and strange, and it's best not to think about it. I mean, last episode, Ruby's running through a weird castle where the walls and gravity just kept flipping around over and over again. I'm honestly not even sure how they animated that.
The garden is just down this path and is sure to have all the ingredients we need for a lovely Grogurt parfait.
Grogurt parfait? That sounds utterly disgusting, and I would like to try it.
No talking to anyone without me. If you're not careful.
We might get our heads cut off. Well, I'm sure we'll cause a lot less trouble once we're back to normal.
I highly, highly doubt that, Weiss.
Salim, Salem, how many more relics does she need to end the world again?
Wow. Seriously, how close is your archenemy to ending the entire world? That is quite a question. And for such a curious cat, I feel like he isn't really listening to their answers all that much. He'd be much less curious if he actually, just retained the information they gave him.
How are you even supposed to stop her now that Atlas is gone?
That is also a very, very good question that they don't actually have an answer to. I mean, Atlas was home to, the largest military in the world, and it fell pretty quickly.
They saw a bug.
And you didn't say anything?
It was a very interesting bug.
Oh god, poor Little. Poor Little.
Characters from the book. Why did it have to be the cat? Why couldn't we have gotten help from the lively carpenter or the rusted knight? One was...
Oh, the Rusted Knight. I've been calling him the Bunny Knight up to this point.
One was handsome, and neither of them had the attention.
Rewind that for a second.
One was sweet, one was handsome, and
One was handsome. The Rusted Knight was handsome, apparently. Very interesting, because there's also a large portion of the community who ships Weiss with John, and I am fairly certain the Rust Knight is in fact John. Just saying.
neither of them had the attention span of a goldfish.
You know, I bet you could find a goldfish in one of these ponds.
Yeah, little it really isn't all that helpful either. Honestly, I think you'd get along fairly well with the Curious Cat if they could just convince the Curious Cat not to eat him.
Hey,
Guys, what was the one rule the Curious Cat gave you? Do not talk to anyone in the forest without me by your side. And now you're going off to talk to somebody. Bad move. Very, very bad move. Though on the bright side, I think that is the garden they're looking for, which has the ingredients to turn them back to full size.
This the garden?
What are you?
I am getting really tired of that question.
And again, Ruby, the cat just told you, don't talk to anybody without me by your side, and now you're talking to somebody. Again, bad move.
What question? I am an herbalist. The herbalist.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Herbalist. You are terrifying.
At least. Until I'm not anymore. Well, are you coming in or aren't you?
Also, just once again, this is very clearly the caterpillar character from Alice in Wonderland. I'm assuming that there's, a version similar to him in The Girl Who Fell to the World. Are they really not drawing the connection? Are they really not like, hey, wait a minute, this is the giant caterpillar from the book? They seem utterly baffled by his existence, but at least I recognize him, and I have not watched or read Alice in Wonderland in a very long time.
You can make us a Grogurt parfait.
Would you say that you're good huntresses?
Oh, that's a very good question. I mean, in terms of strength, they are in like the top 10% of all huntresses. I mean, they went shoulder to shoulder against the Aesops, like the, elite of Atlas. So they're clearly strong huntresses, but does that make them good huntresses? How much good have they actually done in the world? How often have they actually been able to protect those who weren't able to protect themselves? Not very. I mean, they have failed so much over and over and over and over. So, yeah. I mean, they were able to save the, citizens of Atlas from Salem. That was something. Though a lot of them did get, tossed over the edge by Cinder, and their entire city and all their homes were destroyed. So, yeah, they aren't really all that great of huntresses right now. But they are trying. They are still trying.
look, can you help us or not?
I am trying. This is how a king winds up a prince. Follow me.
Wait a minute. This is how a king winds up a prince? Was that in reference to how the Red King is gone and now the Red Prince is around? Like, because that person was stubborn or whatever, they died, now we have a prince instead of a king? I'm not sure. That felt very specific.
My work is never done.
Are they all about to get high? Because I'm pretty sure they're all about to get really, really high. And I don't know how I feel about that.
These.
Though I do... Oh. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're already high. Fascinating. Yeah, this is one... Okay. I was gonna say this is a really, really bad trip, but then it became an even worse trip. Are they gonna need to fight their younger selves? Because I would actually really like to see that. And I'm sure, Yang's younger self is wondering, hey, what happened to your arm? And that is certainly a story.
What? You don't have to go forward, You could go back. Back to before. What?
Oh, back to before, back to who she used to be. I mean, that's certainly interesting. Would Yang actually want that? Would Yang actually want to go back? I mean, part of her, sure. I'm sure, like, the loss of her arm still really bothers her, but would she want to undo all the growth and progress she's made over the years? Who she's become as a result of losing her arm, gaining, patience, gaining inner strength, gaining stuff like that? I don't know. Very interesting.
What are you talking about?
It's simple, really. You could just be human.
Wait, what? You could just be human. That is an interesting offer. Blake, why are you offering to turn your older self human?
Or just a cat, if you wanted.
Or
Really?
a cat?
It's up to you.
You could turn yourself human or into a cat. Okay, that's a lot different than going back in time, gaining your arm. I'm so confused by all of this.
Why would I do that?
The Schnee name. Why bother anymore?
Okay, that's actually a very good point. What does the Schnee name actually mean? I mean, Weiss's father, Jacques, he drove that name into the freaking ground. He stomped it into the dirt, and now means very little. But to Weiss, I think it's something she always took a lot of pride in when she was younger, when she was, this version of Weiss. And that's because her grandfather is essentially her hero. Her grandfather is the person who built the entire company with his own 2 hands. Yes, he made some very bad decisions at the end of his life with, basically selling his daughter to Jacques, but he tried. He really, really tried, and he created something absolutely insane, something nobody else could create.
What does it even stand for now? Instead, you could be a nobody. Could you imagine? Not a single bit of baggage upon your shoulders. Isn't that what you want?
Okay, that's very interesting. I mean, I assumed, when we first saw Yang, that all of them would say, don't you want to go back in time to when you were me, when things were simpler? But the Weiss version here is doing something very different. She's basically saying, why don't you just give up the burden of your family? Why don't you go not back to the person you used to be where you're like, oh, I'm a Schnee all the time, but rather keep pushing forward to someone who doesn't care about their name, who doesn't care about being a Schnee.
To be free?
To be something simpler.
To be whole again?
Oh, to be whole again. Oh, that was brutal. That was so brutal. And yet, we have still not seen RWBY, which I think will make me cry.
No. My losses, my failures, those more than anything are what have shaped me into who I am.
Yeah.
Showed me.
There we go. That's exactly what I was hoping to hear from Yang. She has certainly lost a lot with, missing the arm and all the trauma involved with that, but she gained so much strength. She gained so much willpower as a result of that loss. She won't want to go back to who she used to be.
How I need to grow. If there's something I'm missing, it's not because I've lost it. It's because I haven't found it yet. And the only way...
If there's something that's missing, it's not because I lost it. It's because I haven't found it yet. Oh, that's a great line. That is such a great line.
that is to keep going.
A simple life wouldn't be my life. My family, my friends, my culture. I belong to them just as much as they belong to me.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's probably the best, funnest line we've gotten in this entire series. I mean, I think RWBY has kind of struggled with the whole Blake Fauna storyline for a long time, but Blake, being unwilling to give up her culture, her Fauna's people, right here and now, it's really well done. I really like this.
To give that all away wouldn't be simplicity. It would be betrayal.
I don't know who you think you are, but let me tell you who I am. I am the granddaughter of a hero and the child of a villain.
I love that. I am the granddaughter of a hero and the child of a villain. Oh, that's my favorite Weiss line in this entire series. I mean, well, that and when Weiss arrests her father and then says, "Can I do that?" Oh, beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful Weiss. I loved it.
I am a citizen of a fallen kingdom and an heir to nothing. I will not be defined by my...
I am an heir to nothing. Yeah, pretty much.
Because I will be the one to define it.
Yes, I'll be the one to define what it means to be a Schnee. Weiss is at the start of a very, very long journey to change what it means to be a Schnee. I've been theorizing for a very long time that once everything settled down, Weiss would essentially restart the company from the ground floor and make it something, that doesn't actually make use of slave labor anymore. In fact, Weiss could actually go to the island where all the faunuses live, I forget what it's called, and basically, recruit them to work for her, not as slaves, not as lower class citizens, but as equals who are paid and respected well. I would so love to see that.
Weiss Schnee, and I am a huntress.
I am a huntress.
I am a huntress.
Oh. And now we get to RWBY. I mean, those three just knocked it out of the freaking park. Those are some of the best moments we've gotten for those three characters in such a long time. Absolutely loved it. And now we get to RWBY, who, it's been clear this entire volume, all 3 episodes of it, is just struggling so badly with all these feelings that she just has not been able to process at all. And now she has faced her own reflection, and I don't think it's going to go well. I think the other 3 are going to get passing grades from the Caterpillar, but RWBY, I think she's going to fail. I 100% think she's going to fail here. And we've got 3 minutes left, so let's see what happens.
Are you a huntress?
Are you a huntress?
Oh,
that is sad. Just big, or I guess small RWBY looking down at her like that. That is, that's already hurting me.
Ones you read about in books? They always saved the day, didn't they? Always knew what to do. Always won in the end.
The story isn't over yet. RWBY can certainly come back around and win things, but she has taken a lot of losses. And those, fairy tale books that say the hero must always smile, the hero must always win, the hero must always be perfect. And because the circumstances are just so much more complicated than any book about any huntress that's ever been written, RWBY is failing, and she feels like she is just so inadequate.
But life isn't like a fairy tale. That's right. It's up to you to make things better, isn't it?
Yeah, that's basically what she said to Blake when she first met her. The world is not as simple as a fairy tale, but that's why we're here, to set things right, to make sure that everyone gets their happy ending. Oh, RWBY, you make me sad. You make me very sad.
Everything all depends on you. Your sister needs you. Your friends need you. The whole world needs you to keep fighting forever and ever against an invincible monster that took your mother.
Oh, Mother of God! She didn't just say that. She didn't just say that. Against an invincible monster that took your mother. Holy Mother of God. Holy Mother of God. Wow. Okay, that was a punch to the gut. That was an absolute punch to the gut right there.
Mom was the best. But even she failed.
Yeah,
That doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, that certainly isn't fair. They had a mother who loved them so much, and they lost her. She wasn't able to win against the big bad. And if she couldn't win, what chance does RWBY and the rest of them have of beating Salem?
None of this seems fair. So, what are you gonna be?
Oh, okay, interesting. Hey, okay, great. This cat came in, saved them, huzzah. But the other 3 passed the test. The other 3 were able to figure out what it means to be a huntress, while RWBY just failed spectacularly. I know the cat interfered, but I don't think that conversation was going anywhere positive or pleasant, so very, very curious about all that.
Oh my! And take a little bit of my heart.
Oh.
You'll feel much better.
Take a little bit of my heart. Interesting. Also, what was Herb trying to do here? Because apparently he wasn't actually helping them out. So, was he trying to eat them? I feel like that might be the case here.
I do apologize. I always was a bit of a workaholic. Huntresses, was it? Peculiar things.
Okay. The ground just ate that dude. The ground just ate that dude. Alright, why not? Yeah, that is an appropriate reaction right there. Also, did Little also hallucinate? Did Little also see a younger version of himself asking what he wanted to be? Because I think he might have just slept through all of that.
Oh, I found the cat.
What the freak? Hey, I found the cat. Yeah, he slept through all of that. Beautiful. Is that the end? Yeah, that's the freaking end. Holy mother of God, that episode. Okay. So, yeah, that continues this volume's goal of just utterly and completely destroying RWBY. And I am so confused by all of that. I mean, what exactly was Herb trying to do here? I mean, for Blake, Yang, and Weiss, he managed to help them, figure out who they really are, come to a better understanding of what it means for them to be a huntress. But then for RWBY, she just got knocked down and berated over and over again for like a good 2 minutes, and almost had a full mental breakdown, and ended up in a much worse state. So, was he trying to help them? Was he trying to hurt them? What exactly did it mean that he was, running low on heart, and that the curious cat had to give him heart? And then why was he eaten by the ground? So many questions. So many, many questions. But, alright. Overall, still really like this episode. We got to see, some great moments for Blake, Weiss, and Yang. And admittedly, RWBY as well. Blake isn't going to throw away what it means to be a faunus. She will continue to be a bridge between the two sides to, basically not lose either part of herself. The part of her that lives in the human world and the part of her that lives in the faunus world. Yang, she lost her arm and that still kind of bothers her, but as a result of that loss, she managed to become so much more than she was before, so she won't go back. She'll continue being who she is right now in this moment. And Weiss, yes, her family's kind of done. Her family's company is kind of done. The Schnee Dust Company has been burned to the absolute ground. And as a result of that, and her father, the Schnee name is basically garbage at this point, but she won't give it up. She still is proud of the company her grandfather founded, and she will find a new way to make the Schnee name mean something moving forward into the future. Loved all of that. And then finally, good old RWBY, who is, forced to basically compare herself to characters from stories, the huntresses from the stories that Yang read to her when she was a child, and, they always won. They always saved the day. They always saved everyone, and now that RWBY's, actually in the world of a huntress, actually going out and fighting and trying to save the day, she realizes, sometimes we lose. Sometimes we just can't freaking win. Though I do think this may actually relate back to Alex, because the curious cat said something rather interesting. He said, oh yes, Alex certainly did learn her lesson, which felt very, very ominous. And I'm wondering if maybe the book, The Girl Who Felt the World, wasn't as accurate and honest as we might think. And therefore, when RWBY eventually does end up meeting Alex or learns more about her time in this world, she realized that Alex struggled and failed as well, but she kept pushing forward, she kept moving on. Eventually, she managed to succeed. Eventually, she managed to make it home. I don't know. Oh, and speaking of Alex, Herb also mentioned something along the lines of, oh, that's how a king becomes a prince. So that's definitely hinting at whatever happened to the Red King that resulted in the Red Prince being in charge. So weird. So weird. And like I said, everyone got really stoned this episode, which also just weird. Oh, just holy mother of God, that was brutal. That was so brutal. Again, love these three, and then RWBY's, conversation with her past self was like a punch to the guts. And seriously, what was gonna happen?
So, what are you gonna be?
Yeah, right there. What would have happened if the curious cat hadn't interfered? What would RWBY have said? Who do you want to be? I really don't know, and I'm so curious. And I kind of figured this wouldn't be, the end of Ruby's struggles because, if we go... Let's go back to the opening for a second. Yeah, RWBY just gets more and more sad and slow as, they move between the events of the story. And this is actually the last panel from the opening. We saw them, first on the beach, following in the trails of Alex, then in the market, then in the port of the Red Prince, and finally here in the forest. And, everyone else is running, they've got momentum, they know what they want to do, while RWBY is just falling further and further behind as this world keeps breaking her, or more accurately, as this world keeps removing her resistance, because RWBY's been broken for a very, very long time, but she's just been holding on because that's what a real huntress does, and she can't do it anymore, and that breakdown is coming sooner or later. So curious about all of that, but please let me know what you think down below. What exactly was wrong with her? Why exactly did he try to do something to Team RWBY? What exactly did he try to do to Team RWBY? And what did it mean when the Curious Cat gave him a piece of his heart? And why did the ground eat him? I'm most curious about the last part, but please let me know what you think about all this down below. And until next time, peace!